Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Homemade. And today, you all, we are just making a really simple dish. And we're going to pair this with some fish, but of course, it pairs well with any type of meat. You can pair it with the chicken, you can pair it with your oxtails. Anything that you want to, I promise you, this dish is super simple. And I know some people struggle with cooking rice, but I'm going to show you just a really simple method. Is fail proof. You cannot mess this rice up. I promise you. It is so simple, you all. We're not going to cook it on the stove. We're just going to pop it into the oven. We don't have to man it. We are going to wash our rice, put all of our seasonings in, put it into the oven, take it out, fluff it up, let it sit for a second, and it'll be ready to eat. So the first thing that we're going to do, as I said, I wash my rice. And the reason that I wash it before I cook it is to kind of remove all of the starchy products that's on there. It keeps the rice from sticking together, in my opinion. Now, if you don't want to wash your rice, that is your prerogative. You have that right. But the easiest way that I wash my rice, I just take it and I dump it into a small colander, and I just run hot water over it. And I run the water over it until the water becomes clear. As long as the water is kind of like a milky color, that means that the starch is still present on your rice. You want to keep washing it until it is clear. Again, you don't have to. I just like to. So I'm going to go ahead, head to the sink really quick, wash this rice off, come back and show you all how to make this easy rice. Now that I've washed my rice, I'm going to show you how to season your water. And for my rice, you all, I have 1.5 cups of rice. So the rule of thumb that I like to use is however many cups of rice you have, you want to double your water. So since I have 1.5 cups of rice, I'm going to have 3 cups of water in here. And I'm going to go ahead and season my water. Now for this seasoning, and the good thing about this is you can use whatever seasonings you want to in your rice. For this, I'm just going to use some chicken bouillon, and for that I'm only going to put in 1 tablespoon of the bouillon because I don't want to make it so salty. That's really important. We can always add salt to the rice once it gets done cooking, but I don't like to add too much beforehand. Also, to my rice, I'm going to add about a teaspoon or a tablespoon of my herb seasoning, and this is my V spice rub. If you don't want to add anything like this to your rice, again, you season it however you want to. You want to use onion powder, garlic powder, it is totally up to you. Now in here I do have 2 teaspoons of olive oil. I'm going to pour that in there, and you do want to make sure that you have some type of oil in your water. So even if you want to use butter, that is totally fine. Sometimes I do use butter, but for this particular one, I'm going to use olive oil. I'm also going to put some vegetables into this, you all, but I'm going to put my vegetables in last. I'm going to put my rice in. And again, when you are washing your rice, you want to make sure that you are using hot water. That's really important. Okay. I'll put my rice in. I'm going to make sure that it's evenly distributed. And if you can see, I am using a loaf pan to cook my rice. I like to cook my rice in a pan that is kind of deep and not so wide, because to me it just helps the rice cook better. Now for my vegetables, I just put in maybe like a quarter of an onion. I chopped it up. I put in like a quarter of a bell pepper, and also like 1 stick of celery. Actually, it wasn't even a whole stick of celery. It was like a half a stick of celery and a half a carrot. Again, you don't have to. This is just how I like to season this particular rice because I am pairing it with some fish. So, to that, I am going to put my foil on, and you want to make sure that it is covered really, really well. So you don't want any gaps in your foil. Now, we are going to pop this into the oven. I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees. I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. After the 30-minute mark, my rice should be done. Now, when I know that it is done, that means that all the water has evaporated off the top of my rice. I can actually see my grains of rice fully cooked in there. So, into the oven, 375 degrees for 30 minutes. We're going to come back, take it out of the oven. We're going to let it rest for about 3 to 5 minutes. Come back, fluff it, and you all, we are going to come back and taste some of this awesome rice. Has cooked, you all. It is out of the oven, and look at that. I have not fluffed it yet. I did let it rest a few minutes, and to fluff your rice, all you want to do is just take a fork, and you just kind of go from one end of your pan to the other end, and you just kind of want to mix it in really, really, really well, because you want all those vegetables to get mixed in there really well, all of your seasonings. And you all, it smells so good. Now, I will say this. Typically, it takes about 30 to 35 minutes for my rice to cook. With this rice, it did take about 40-45 minutes. So, you want to check your rice at that 35-minute mark. If all of your water has evaporated out of your rice and you cannot see any water on top, that means that your rice is done. So, we're going to go ahead, take some of this. We are going to sample this, you all. And it is extremely hot. You all, if you have not tried baking your rice, I dare you to. It's so much easier. It actually tastes, to me, so much better than just boiling it on the stove. When you try it, make sure you leave your comments in the comment section below, your pictures. Let me know if you liked it, whatever. Just let me know. If you want to keep seeing these easy homemade recipes, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the channel. I always say this, cooking, you all, it's as easy or as hard as you make it. But I promise you, if you just keep it simple, be yourself when you're cooking, life in itself can be so much easier. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Homemade. And until next time, continue to be great.